So my name's Stuart Lynn. I work at the ESPLEN Planetarium on a project called the Universe. So the ESPLEN Planetarium in Chicago, which is the oldest planetarium in America, in the Western Hemisphere. And we work there on citizen science and crowdsourcing out data. So our group is really about doing citizen science online. It's very different from a lot of other citizen science where people are asked to go out and collect data. We're very much about analysing data. So the world is full of huge databases, huge archives, huge historically collected information from telescopes, from computer projects, from ship's logs from the World War I, that all contain information that really needs to be helped analysed. And computers and large computer facilities can help us do that to a certain extent. There are a lot of things that you can ask a computer to do and it will just zip through all the data and tell you the answer. But for a lot of things, computers are still very bad at determining the sort of the data that we need. So for example, anything which involves shapes or morphologies or fuzzy questions like, is this galaxy more spirally than this galaxy, for example. Computers are still very bad at that. They're still very bad at giving consistently good answers. But people are fantastic. People are this amazing collection of neurons that are these fantastic image recognition and pattern recognition software. So if we show them data, we can often get good answers from that. What we do is we take a lot of those data sets, we put them online, we develop websites to have very simple, very user-friendly interfaces to that data, and we ask anybody in the public to come along and help us truly understand what is there. And that's gone really well. We've analysed galaxies, we've analysed cancer cells, we've looked at data from old weather logbooks from the World War I, we've looked at the seafloor, what species are there, the Serengeti, across the board. We're trying this with as many different sciences as we can find. So I think for the scientist point of view, we can do science that we never dreamed of before. From a scientific point of view, there are some questions that can only be answered with this approach. There are some questions where, unless we engage the public in the research, we're never going to know the answer to those questions. And also, it helps us find things that scientists miss. There's a great example of this in one of our projects, Galaxy Zoo. Galaxy Zoo was a project where we asked people to look at images of galaxies, and we had already kind of classified them into galaxies or stars beforehand using an automated method. A little short time into that project, we started seeing people finding these very small compact green objects in the images. They started collecting these objects together. They created a thread on one of our forums called Give Peas a Chance, because they had named these things green peas because they looked like small compact green peas. They started gathering data about these objects. They started bringing them together, and eventually they came to the scientists and said, we think we found something interesting. What is it? And the scientists had to be, we have no idea. We didn't know what it was. It was a completely new type of galaxy that had been misclassified by the automated methods as a star rather than a galaxy, that this group of citizen scientists, because they were looking at the data, because they were thinking about it rather than just being an automated computer method, had discovered was interesting and had brought to their attention. And so serendipitous discovery, which has always been a huge part of science, we worry that gets lost in the age of automation. And so by having a large number of people looking at this data, we can get some of that back. For the citizen scientists, it's an amazing opportunity to take part in some of the most inspiring and exciting endeavours of our sort of current generation. One of our projects called Planet Hunters is trying to find planets going around other stars. We're looking for the signature of a planet going around another star to tell that the planet's there. We have citizen scientists who have discovered new planets going around other stars. In fact, some of our citizen scientists discovered the first planet that goes around a binary pair of stars, so two stars going around each other. The planet goes around the outside of those, and then over here there's another pair of binary stars, and those two systems go around each other. So they discovered the first planet that has 4 suns in the sky rather than 1 or 2. And that's completely a discovery made by citizen scientists. It could probably only have been made by citizen scientists, and they're taking part in what is arguably the most exciting search for new places in the universe that could support life, new alien worlds that are very different from our own, and other things that are more sort of important to us here on Earth, like cancer research, like climate change. And it opens it up to anybody who wants to contribute to those endeavours. We have to convince people that anybody can contribute to science in a meaningful way, and we're doing that increasingly more and more. We're winning that argument more and more in different scientific areas and research areas. I think that even though our project is a community of over 1,200,000 participants, but even that's not enough to get through the next generation of data. There are telescopes being constructed now that will create as much data as we've analysed so far every single night, and so we need to be able to scale up to meet that demand. And part of that is trying to marry human attention with machine attention, so being able to use the computer algorithms to do most of the work they can do, and then giving the parts of that they are unable to do to human participants, and kind of getting this kind of marriage between automation and human attention in place. Some of the other challenges are just convincing people that they can do this. A lot of our participants really enjoy contributing to our projects, but as soon as they realize they're contributing to real science, they get scared that they're going to mess up the experiment or mess up the data set, and that's a huge a hurdle for them to overcome. And so we're constantly working with ways to try and reassure them, try to convey that they're part of a much larger collaborative effort, and their contributions are hugely valuable, but if they make a mistake, it doesn't matter. We can still, it's not going to harm the science. And so I think there's a number of challenges, from advocacy to confidence to acceptance, and to meeting the challenges of the next generation of data collectors that are going to come online in the next 10 to 20 years. I think within our field, we're pushing towards the future. I think for us, the biggest thing is until now, most citizen science projects we've run or been part of have been proposed by scientists. They've been dreamt up by scientists, and they've asked for the help of the citizen scientists. We really want to see that change. We really want to see the scientific questions that are being asked, the design of the experiments, the hypotheses that are being tested come not from the scientists but from the community itself. We want to have an educated community of citizen scientists who understand how science works, who understand the scientific process, and can take ownership of that and can really pose their own questions, gather together their own group of citizen scientists, process their own data, and make their own hypotheses. We want to bring them into the full cycle of science from start to end. And with our project, with the Zuniverse, we're trying that. We tried a project called Galaxy Zoo Quench, where we tried to take a group of citizen scientists from data analysis through to hypothesis testing, through to publishing of a scientific paper in a scientific journal. So science from start to end. And it's hard work, but we want to do that more and more and really allow the community of citizen scientists to have ownership over the entire process, not just the parts where the scientists need help.